At this stage in life, somewhere between 55 and 75 years old, we have lived through joy, heartbreak, hard lessons, and moments of grace. We have raised families, built careers, overcome loss, and watched the world change right in front of our eyes. And through it all, one quiet truth becomes clearer than ever. Not everything needs to be shared. Some things, when kept to ourselves, become a gift to our dignity, a gift to our peace of mind, a gift to the relationships we still hold close. Today I want to speak to your wisdom. Not the kind you read in books, but the kind that only comes from living. In this video, we are going to walk through 9 things you should never share. Not because you are hiding anything, but because protecting your personal peace is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself at this stage of life. You may not realize it yet, but your silence can be a shield. Your privacy can be a form of self-respect. And the things you choose not to say might just be the things that bring you the most freedom. So settle in, take a breath, and come with me. These next few minutes could change the way you think about your story and how you choose to live it moving forward. Number 1, your age. Because you are more than a number. There is a moment that happens more often than we like. You're sitting at a table, maybe with someone new, maybe even a well-meaning friend, and the question slips out casually. So how old are you now? It might come with a smile or a laugh or a hint of curiosity, but no matter how gently it is asked, the moment it lands, something inside you tightens because you already know what comes next. Once people hear your age, whether it is 59, 67, or 75, they start making assumptions. Sometimes quietly, sometimes with the best intentions. They may begin speaking to you more slowly. They might offer help you did not ask for. Some will assume you are no longer interested in learning new things or that you should be thinking about slowing down. And in the worst cases, they may stop truly seeing you at all. But here is something important, something many of us learn as we grow older. You are not a number. You are not the year you were born. You are a full, vibrant, complex person who has lived through decades of change, heartache, discovery, and resilience. The stories you carry, the strength you have shown, cannot be measured in years. They are measured in moments, in memories, in quiet acts of love and courage that no age can define. Choosing not to share your age is not about hiding. It is about choosing how others see you. It is about protecting the dignity and individuality you have earned. Age is not just a piece of trivia. It is often used consciously or not to limit you, to put you in a category, to decide how with it you are. And that is not something anyone has the right to do. Keeping your age private gives you control. It allows people to know you first. Your energy, your voice, your values, without drawing conclusions from a number. It helps you avoid being underestimated, pied, or stereotyped. And most importantly, it helps remind you that life is not winding down. Life is still happening, and you are still very much a part of it. You do not need to explain, defend, or justify your age. You are still growing, still laughing, still contributing, and still worthy of new beginnings. Whether you are 55 or 85, you're not defined by how many birthdays you have had. You're defined by how you live, love, and show up in the world. Number 2, your financial status. Because peace lives in privacy. Money is one of those topics we are taught not to talk about, and for good reason. It carries weight not just in dollars, but in emotions, relationships, and power. By the time you reach your 50s, 60s, or 70s, you have likely lived through a wide range of financial seasons. Maybe you built a stable life from the ground up. Maybe you weathered storms, helped others before helping yourself, or made sacrifices that no one else ever saw. No matter your path, you earned every cent the hard way. But here is something many women do not talk about. Sharing too much about your financial situation, whether you are doing well or barely getting by, can change how people treat you. If others know you are financially secure, even just a little, they may begin to expect things. A dinner here, a loan there, a favor that keeps growing. It might start out subtle, someone saying, "Oh, I thought you could afford it," or asking for just a little help, but soon you may feel more like a bank than a friend. On the other side, if people know you are struggling, maybe your retirement is tighter than expected, or you are helping grandkids more than you can afford, the response may be pity. They might offer advice you did not ask for, or worse, they might assume you made poor decisions when they never walked in your shoes. The truth is, your financial story is deeply personal. You do not owe anyone an explanation. What you choose to share or not share is your right. Whether you have a little or a lot, you deserve peace. And peace comes from privacy, not hiding, just choosing boundaries that protect your dignity. There is strength in living modestly, there is wisdom in being generous quietly, and there is beauty in not needing to impress anyone with what you have. Because what truly matters is not your savings account. It is your values. It is the way you care for others, the kindness you give, the lessons you pass down. Those are the legacies people remember. Your worth is not measured in wealth. It is measured in the life you lead and the peace you protect. Let others see your heart, not your balance sheet. Let your spirit be the richest thing about you. Number 3, family conflicts. Because love grows best behind closed doors. Family is a beautiful, complicated thing. For many of us, especially as women, we have been the glue. The ones who remember birthdays, who forgive first, who keep the phone calls going even when no one else reaches out. And in doing all that emotional work, we carry a lot. The love, the hope, and yes, the hurt too. You may have experienced deep wounds within your family, a daughter who barely speaks to you, a sibling who always makes things difficult, or old resentments that never quite go away. It is tempting, when you are carrying that pain, to share it with others, to open up during lunch with a friend, or on a phone call with a neighbor. And sometimes it does feel like a relief, in that moment at least. But here is the hard truth. When you tell others about your family conflicts, you invite opinions, assumptions, and judgment into a space that is already fragile. People will form ideas about your children, your spouse, your parents, and those impressions can linger long after the conflict has passed. They may say, "I never liked how your son spoke to you," or, "If it were me, I would cut her off." And suddenly your private pain becomes public property. Even worse, sharing too much can deepen the divide. If your words get back to the people involved, and they often do, it can lead to more distance, not healing. Instead of finding your way back to each other, you get stuck in hurt and shame. That is not what you want. Not really. Protecting your family's privacy is not about pretending everything is fine. It is about creating space for forgiveness, if and when it comes. It is about holding the door open, just in case someone you love wants to walk through it again. And that door is harder to walk through if it has been surrounded by gossip. There are healthy ways to process pain: journaling, therapy, prayer, or speaking with someone who has earned your deepest trust. But not everyone has earned the right to hear your family struggles. Not every table is a safe place to open your heart. You know your family better than anyone. You know their flaws, but you also know their goodness, even if it is buried right now. Choosing silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. It gives love room to breathe, to heal, and maybe one day, to come home again. Number 4, your medications or diagnosis. Because you are not your condition. By the time you reach your 60s or 70s, it is likely that health has become part of your daily reality. Maybe you take a few pills in the morning, check your blood pressure, or make regular visits to your doctor. These routines may be quiet, but they are deeply personal. They are part of how you care for yourself, how you keep moving, keep showing up, keep living your life. But here is something worth thinking about. How much of your health story should you share with others? It can feel natural to talk about it. Sometimes, friends compare notes on medications or swap names of specialists. And yes, having someone who understands can bring comfort. But there is a line, a quiet line, between meaningful connection and revealing too much. Because when you talk too openly about your conditions or treatments, you may find that people begin to see you only through the lens of illness. They might stop inviting you places, assuming it is too much. They may start offering unsolicited advice, miracle supplements, home remedies, or scary stories that only add to your anxiety. Or worse, they begin to pity you. Their tone changes. Their eyes soften, not out of compassion, but out of condescension. And suddenly, you are no longer seen as a whole woman. you become the one with the bad knees or the one who cannot travel anymore. But that is not who you are. You are more than your chart, more than your prescriptions, more than your diagnosis. You are someone who has weathered storms and still finds ways to laugh. You are someone who makes soup for neighbors, remembers birthdays, and keeps learning new things. You are a soul in motion, not a patient waiting on permission to live. That is why protecting your health information is not about shame. It is about dignity. It is about choosing who gets to know what and why. It is about owning your story, not letting your condition write it for you. Share when it helps you. Speak when it brings connection. But remember, not everyone has earned the right to hold your vulnerability with care, and not everyone will understand what it truly means to live with grace, even while managing pain. Let your strength be what people notice. Let your warmth be what they remember. And let your health, your real sacred journey, be something you hold with pride and privacy. Number 5, your intimate life, because some things are sacred. As women age, the world often begins to treat us as though we have stopped being romantic, stopped being sensual, stopped being fully alive. We see it in how movies portray older women. We hear it in the way people speak like love is only for the young and intimacy fades with the passing years. But you know the truth, intimacy does not disappear. It evolves, it deepens, it becomes quieter, more sacred, and more meaningful. A soft hand held during breakfast, a quiet kiss in the hallway, a late-night conversation that touches the heart more deeply than any words did in youth. These moments are not less than, they are more. They are rich with years of trust, shared stories, and emotional depth that no new romance can fake. Still, in this world of oversharing, you may feel pressured to talk about your love life. Maybe friends are joking about what goes on behind closed doors, or social media seems to celebrate being open about everything. But your intimate life is yours, and it deserves your protection. Sharing too much about your romantic experiences, past or present, can change how people see you. Some may judge, some may make inappropriate comments, others may try to turn your sacred connection into gossip. And even well-meaning friends might simply not understand the beauty of intimacy at this stage in life. What happens between you and the person you love belongs to the two of you. It does not need to be explained, defended, or shared. Whether you are in a relationship or not, your body and your heart are not for public conversation. They are for you to honor, to protect, and to enjoy in ways that feel right and respectful to you. And if you are no longer in a relationship, or if you have chosen to live alone, that does not mean your capacity for love or connection is gone. It simply means you are honoring your own rhythm, one shaped by experience, not by expectation. Let your love be your own. Let it be sacred. In a world that speaks too loudly and too often, let your quiet joy be a treasure only you understand. Number 6, your charitable giving. Because generosity speaks loudest in silence. There is a certain joy in giving, one that cannot be matched by receiving. As women, especially in our later years, we often feel the pull to give back. We give to our churches, to our communities, to causes that touched our lives, or to family members who need support. We may not talk about it often, but giving is in our nature. It feels right. It feels like love. But here is something worth remembering. The most powerful generosity does not always come with a spotlight. Sometimes the quietest acts are the ones that echo the loudest. In today's world, it is common to see people sharing their charitable work online or talking about how much they donated. While there is nothing wrong with celebrating good deeds, we must ask ourselves, who is this really for? When giving becomes about recognition, it starts to lose something essential, the purity of intention. There is a dignity in giving without needing attention, a strength in helping someone and telling no one, a quiet pride in doing what is right simply because it matters, not because someone is watching. When you keep your generosity private, you protect the feelings of those you help. Not everyone wants to be seen as someone in need. Your quiet gift may be the thing that allows them to maintain their dignity. And that kind of giving, the kind that lifts without labeling, is the highest form of compassion. Also, staying private about your giving frees you from pressure. You are not responsible for meeting every need. You are not obligated to explain why you give to one cause and not another. Your heart knows what matters to you, and that is enough. Whether you are giving your time, your money, your wisdom, or simply your presence, let it be enough to know you made a difference. Let your reward be the peace you feel when you know someone's life is better because of you. Give quietly, love deeply, and trust that the things done in secret, the meals delivered, the checks written, the prayers whispered, are never forgotten. Not by those you help, and not by the one who sees all. Number 7, your past achievements. Because grace speaks louder than praise, you have lived a life full of effort, of giving, of showing up when it mattered. Maybe you built a career from nothing. Maybe you raised children, cared for your parents, volunteered in your community, or held your family together through hard times no one else even noticed. You have done things, important things, and they deserve to be honored. But here is a quiet truth many women learn later in life. The more we talk about our achievements, the more they can start to lose their power. It is natural to want to be seen, especially after years of invisible labor, the kind of work women do without applause. But constantly sharing your accomplishments can sometimes backfire. People may think you are trying to compete or that you need validation. They may quietly compare themselves to you. And instead of building connection, it creates distance. There is a kind of honor that does not need to be spoken. It is felt. It is seen in how you carry yourself, the way you listen, the calm you bring into a room, the steady hands that help without needing credit. True dignity is not loud. It does not announce itself. It walks gently and people feel it without a word. You do not need to prove your value. The life you have lived already does that. Your strength is in your presence. Your wisdom is in your restraint. You know who you are, and you no longer need others to affirm what you already carry inside. Let your stories come out when they are asked for. Let your experience serve when someone needs guidance. But you do not have to keep your resume in your back pocket. You have earned your peace. You have earned the right to simply be without explanation. There is nothing wrong with being proud. But pride, when worn with grace, becomes legacy. And your legacy, the lives you have touched, the quiet ways you made the world better, speaks louder than any list of achievements ever could. Number 8, past insults or grudges. Because letting go sets you free. There are words you still remember, sharp words spoken in anger, thoughtless comments that cut deeper than they should have. Maybe it was something said decades ago, or something that happened just last year. Maybe it was from someone close. Maybe you never got an apology. And the truth is, you had every right to feel hurt. You still do. But here is the part that takes courage. Holding on to that pain may be costing you more than you realize. Every time you retell the story, the betrayal, the slight, the unfairness, you relive it. You invite it back into your heart. You give it space in your mind, in your body, in your spirit. And after a while, it does not just hurt, it starts to shape you. Carrying old wounds is heavy. It can make joy harder to feel. It can make trust harder to give. It can turn your memories into minefields, where a single thought brings back a wave of pain. But you deserve more than that. You deserve peace. Not because the person who hurt you earned forgiveness, but because you earned freedom. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It does not mean saying what happened was okay. It means choosing not to let the past define your present. It means you get to write the next part of your story without bitterness weighing it down. Some things are better spoken in prayer than in public. Some pain needs a private release, not a permanent place in conversation. You do not need to keep telling people how someone failed you. You can choose silence, not because the wound did not matter, but because you matter more. And when you release that burden, you make room. Room for new joy, room for lightness, room for grace. Your soul was never meant to carry every wrong. Let go gently, not for them, but for you. Number 9, your mantra, beliefs, or deepest convictions. Because they are yours alone. Some things are so personal, so sacred, they live quietly in your heart, and no one else even knows they are there. Maybe it is a prayer you whisper each morning. Maybe it is a phrase your mother used to say that still gives you courage. Maybe it is a belief you have carried your whole life, one that guides you, centers you, comforts you in the dark. We often feel pressure to share everything these days, to post it, explain it, defend it. But your spiritual life, your private convictions, do not need public approval. They do not need to be debated or tested or explained. What you believe deep in your bones is yours, and it has shaped you in quiet, beautiful ways. It has held you when life felt heavy. It has reminded you who you are when you were tempted to forget. And whether it is faith in God, belief in kindness, or a simple inner knowing, that foundation deserves your protection. Sometimes when you share these beliefs with others, you find connection. But other times, people may question them, challenge them, even mock them. They may not understand, and in that misunderstanding, something pure can be diminished. That is why it is perfectly okay, even wise, to keep some beliefs close to your heart. You do not have to prove their value. You do not have to convince anyone. You're allowed to have something that is just for you, something that gives your life meaning, even if no one else ever hears about it. Let your beliefs be your anchor. Let them guide you through storms and remind you who you are. Speak them when you feel led, but know that silence can also be sacred. In a world that rushes to speak, the quiet strength of knowing who you are, without needing to shout it, is a kind of peace few ever find. Silence is not emptiness, it is power. You have lived long enough to know that the loudest voices are not always the wisest ones, that not everything needs to be said to be true, that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is choose silence. Not because you're afraid, but because you have nothing to prove. A final word. Throughout this video, we have walked through 9 things you may want to keep to yourself. Your age, your finances, your family struggles, your health, your intimacy, your giving, your achievements, your old wounds, and your personal beliefs. And maybe as you listened, you nodded. Maybe you saw yourself in these stories. Maybe you felt a gentle reminder that privacy is not a wall. It is a boundary made of love. Love for yourself, love for your peace, love for the life you have worked so hard to build. You see, there is a deep kind of wisdom that grows in women like you. Women who have lived enough to stop needing applause, who understand the difference between being known and being understood, who have learned that being seen fully does not always require being seen entirely. You do not owe the world your inner life. You can choose what to share. You can choose what to protect. And that choice is not selfish. It is sacred. So many people spend their days trying to be louder, trying to be noticed, trying to fill silence with something, anything. But you, dear friend, have learned the value of stillness, the strength in knowing who you are without shouting it, the beauty of letting your life, your presence, your care, your kindness speak for itself. Let others share what they want. You can keep your peace. Let others explain their worth. You already know yours. And as you move through this season of life, whether you are 55 or 75 or beyond, remember this: your story is still being written, and you are allowed to write it your way, quietly, powerfully, on your terms. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this message spoke to you, even in a small way, I invite you to share your thoughts below. Type the word peace if you believe privacy is power, or simply let this message settle into your heart. No reply needed. Either way, I am honored to share this space with you. Until next time, may you be gentle with yourself, generous with your silence, and proud of the quiet strength that has carried you this far. Thank you so much.